Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's Daily Dispatch. I'm Julie Roginski here with Michelle Kinney. We are coming to today because something happened in the Oval Office a little bit ago that is just so gross and awful on any number of levels, on a cultural level, a domestic policy level, a foreign policy level, a moral policy level.
A First Amendment policy level.
Like everything about what just happened.
Yeah.
Just the definition of why Donald Trump is unfit to be president.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we play that, if you don't mind, Michelle?
Yeah. So there was a bunch of clips, all over Twitter, but I'm hoping that this one pretty much covers it. I'm going to start it here, and we'll see you on the other side.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
It's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. You're going to psych. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. And I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me. But he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax. And ABC's, your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
So why not just sign it now?
I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, who spent their time. Larry Summers was with him all the time. That creep of the fund guy was with him all the time. What's his name? Who? Reid Hoffman. I don't know Reid Hoffman, but I know he spends a lot of money on the radical left. Reid Hoffman, in my opinion, should be under investigation. He's a sleazebag. And those are the people, but they don't get any press, they don't get any news, and you're not after the radical left because you're a radical left network. But I think the way you ask a question with the anger and the meanness is terrible. You ought to go back and learn how to be a reporter. No more questions from you. Who else has a question?
Well, okay, that's one. But there's also another one. I don't know if we have that one, Michelle, where he starts defending MBS. Do we have that anywhere?
I believe so. Let me see. We're same on every issue, or
no, it's one that he says that Khashoggi might have deserved to maybe have had it coming to him.
Okay. It's I just need to say this just really quick because this is just something I've been thinking about. The fact that MBS and Saudi Arabia had something to do with September 11th and the death of thousands of Americans in the deadliest terrorist attack in American history, and then to be allowed back in on a red carpet into the Oval Office, it's almost like inciting an insurrection against your own government and then being invited back in to be inaugurated in the rotunda, in the exact place that this happened. It's just, it's no wonder. I mean, I think Donald Trump probably sees himself in all of this and sees nothing wrong with any of it.
Well, the other thing I want to talk about is what he said about Jamal Khashoggi. So
Yeah, I'm
Jamal
trying to
Khashoggi,
look at this. I think I have it.
this while you look. Jamal Khashoggi was an American green card holder.
Mm-hmm.
So he was not a citizen, but he was a green card holder, which means that aside from being able to vote in this country, he had every right that every other citizen has in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Jamal Khashoggi was a thorn in the side of the regime in Saudi Arabia, and specifically in the side of Mohammed bin Salman.
Mm-hmm.
And our own intelligence agencies concluded that Mohammed bin Salman ordered the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. Jamal Khashoggi was lured
Mm-hmm.
a house in Istanbul in Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
He was dismembered with a chainsaw,
Like a bone saw.
saw, and his body was basically hacked to death
And shoved into a suitcase.
for no reason other than he asked the kind of questions that Mary Bruce there at ABC just asked. But
And here I have the clip. I just had it labeled as something incorrect. So this is it.
Yep.
As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it. And we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Okay. First of all, things happen. No, things don't happen, Mr. President. Things don't happen. This isn't like you wore white after Labor Day. You know what? Things happen.
Right.
No. Things don't happen. Somebody, and our intelligence agencies believe that somebody was sitting next to the President of the United States in the Oval Office today after having a red carpet rolled out for him, the same red carpet that this president had rolled out for other autocrats like Vladimir Putin.
Yep.
Mohammed bin Salman ordered the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, who was also a reporter at the Washington Post.
Mm-hmm.
And that somebody literally ordered a bone saw to be used against a green card holder.
Yep.
Somebody who the United States was bound to protect by virtue of him being a green card holder in this country.
And the thing is about the gruesomeness of that crime, and I don't want to upset people or gross people out here, but it's the intimate nature of the crime, like the intimate, even just in human proximity, right? There's one thing to commit murder with a gun, right? You're usually a far amount of distance from the person that you're inflicting harm onto. To do this kind of harm, you have to be the next level of like psychopath. Like they're like, to order it, to be a part of it, it is so intimate and so gruesome on a level that I don't think even we could comprehend. And it's the same thing where he had the guy in the Oval Office, what was it, last week? Or the week before, you know what I'm talking about? The guy from Syria. I can't remember his name.
Oh, yes. The guy who used to be wanted by the
Yeah.
All
And
right.
and he invites the Taliban to Camp David. It's like
let me just say this. The reason that I believe Donald Trump went so nuts on ABC is because he knows that is exactly what would have happened in Saudi Arabia. And he's trying to be a dictator in front of another dictator.
Yeah.
Right? So like, okay, well, I can't really use a bone saw on this ABC reporter because that would maybe go a little too far even for me. But so I'm going to ream her out and humiliate her so that you can see that I also know how to treat our press that is insubordinate to me.
Yep.
The difference is that we have a First Amendment in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is, I don't give a shit that MBS is our guest. He's in our house. That is the people's house that he's sitting in.
Yeah.
He's being feted with our taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
Our taxpayer dollars. And look, I understand that, first of all, MBS is very young. I'm not going to put 9/11 at his feet. Okay. Because I think he wasn't old enough to be making decisions back then. But I do want to say this about Saudi Arabia and the shameful treatment that Saudi Arabia listen. I am old enough to remember when we went to war with Iraq in 1991.
Yeah.
Because they invaded Kuwait, and for Kuwait itself was not what we were concerned about. We were concerned that after Kuwait, the next stop would be Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And all that oil. And we defended Saudi Arabia. If we hadn't, Saddam Hussein would have been in Riyadh in 5 seconds back then. After that happened, we put bases in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
After that happened, Osama bin Laden and a whole bunch of people got really upset that the infidel was in Saudi Arabia, the home of Mecca and Medina, and the most sacred place in all of Islam, that we were there. Fine. But understand that is why 9/11 happened. And understand that the Wahhabi strain of Islam that they have been exporting all these years emanates from Saudi Arabia. And understand that the House of Saud stays in power because they have a devil's deal with these people to say, leave us alone and you could go and do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Trump is doing all of this because his kids are about to open a Trump Tower Riyadh.
Yep. That's the other part of that. And then I do actually have a clip about the family business as well, because he's asked about it. Here it is.
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news.
So that's her asking the question before he gets into the whole thing and berates her. And I don't know that I have the answer here. But he basically is like, well, they have every right. My family has every right to do this, and I don't do anything, and everything's fine, and don't worry about it. And, it's business as usual for Donald Trump. It's corruption. Every bit of his administration, every conversation, everything that he's doing, from Epstein to this, to crypto, to tearing down the East Wing, it's all corruption. He is insanely corrupt.
And there's so much more.
And evil, right?
And there's so much more, because Jared Kushner's investment firm, Affinity Partners, and let's just preface this by saying that until this happened, Jared Kushner had never run any kind of investment firm, doesn't know jack shit about running investment firms. The last thing he ran was the Kushner companies, almost ran into the ground.
Right.
Qatar came and bailed his ass out.
Right. Wasn't like
666 Fifth Avenue. All right. So Jared Kushner knows about as much about running an investment firm as I do. I'm sorry, I take that back. I actually worked at CNBC. I probably know a
little bit more,
just a tiny smidgen more, and I don't know anything.
Right.
Reportedly received a $2 billion, not reportedly, he received a $2 billion commitment from PIF, which is the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, which is under MBS's control.
Right. The wealth.
That's 6 months after he left his role in the Trump White House in 2021. And the crazy thing, Michelle, is, of course, PIF officials initially objected to investing in Affinity Partners because Jared Kushner doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But the board, which is led by MBS, overrode those objections and approved the $2 billion investment.
Mm-hmm.
So it is so corrupt. It could not be more corrupt. And that's before we get to this sketchy World Business Lenders, whatever the hell it's called, World Business Lenders, something totally unrelated. So I apologize to World Business Lenders. I did not mean to get you in here. World Financial Lenders, or World Liberty Financial, which is run by Steve Wickoff's son, Zach Wickoff. Steve Wickoff, of course, is, in addition to being Donald Trump's special envoy to Russia, is also his special envoy to the Middle East, where he spends a lot of time with these people.
Right.
We don't know who's buying all of that sweet, sweet crypto, because none of it is public. But you can bet your ass that I'm sure some of it's coming from Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what he has the temerity and the nerve to go off on.
Yep.
I mean, I have so many more questions in addition to Mary Bruce's questions. I want to know, have they ever contributed to his crypto fund?
Mm-hmm.
Have they ever contributed to his meme coin or to Melania's meme coin?
Yep.
Right? Because that's directly, he's going to say, oh, it's not my business, it's my family's business. It's got your name on it. It says Trump
Right.
with a dollar sign and Melania with a dollar sign. So give me a break.
I can't.
I want to know about Jared's money.
Mm.
Somebody should ask MBS what exactly qualified Jared Kushner to receive a $2 billion investment, which is different from any kind of investment that any other hedge fund would receive that actually has experience. Why Jared? Why Trump Tower Riyadh? Like, why?
Yeah. Of all the places. And the thing is,
and there's all this stuff, sorry, Michelle, about the sports washing and all this other stuff that Saudi Arabia is doing, whether it's buying live,
well, yeah, I pulled a picture and I just want to remind people, nothing is by accident. Okay. Like, these people are fully aware what they're doing. Or you just look at the Live Golf trophy next to the ruins of September 11th.
Yep.
Take a look at that. If that is not a giant FU and a troll to the United States of America, I don't know what is. And if you are a player who has taken blood money to play for Live Golf, I can assure you, you will someday have to meet your creator and explain yourself for that, if that is what you believe in. But otherwise, I mean, I will never watch a second of Live Golf, ever. And this is so shameful for any American who's all like, never forget, God bless America, all this crap, and then hold on to a trophy like that. It's blood money. And again, there are people in this country that there is just no moral line for them. There's no moral compass. They'll just take money. And it's like all the comedians who just went over there, right? All the comedians who just went over there to, tell their little jokes about whatever. I mean, they were some of them getting paid like $1 million, $2 million for like a 45-minute set to go over there. And, Mark Maron has very rightfully criticized them for that too. And it's like, everything has a price. There are so many Americans that can be bought. There are so many. And Donald Trump is just, unfortunately, the biggest example and the one with the most power and the most access to power and corrupting the rest of us. I'm so exhausted, Julie. I'm so exhausted. Not just because the sun is setting at 4:00, because that does not help, but I'm so tired of these bad people. There's just so many bad people, and it's every goddamn day with them. It just never ends. And we live in New York. Like, I mean, we're reminded of September 11th. I don't know, every day that this horrible thing happened. And here we are ushering him in to the Oval Office, of what he represents, whether it was him or not, it's what he represents. And also Donald Trump, I'm reminded on September 11th, he called into a radio station bragging that he had the biggest building in Lower Manhattan now. And oh, that's too bad that these towers fell. And look at my buildings. They're so big now. When Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted child sex trafficker, says about Donald Trump that he has no decent cell in his body, that ought to tell us something. Not just, like the Saudi Arabia part of this, the traitorous part of this, and then there's the misogyny part of this. He only does this to female reporters.
Every time.
Every single time.
Nasty piggy.
Yeah. Piggy.
Yeah, piggy.
Piggy. This is the piggy clip. I think I've got it here. I thought I did. Of him yelling at, actually I don't have it. Let me load it in. But I'll tell you what, because I looked and saw that it was the yellow tie that he had on, right? And I was like, oh, I don't think that was last night. That was 2 nights ago when he was yelling at the gaggle. And the original clip, which is the one that I used in that JD Vance video, is super pixelated. And you can't see his lips and you can't see what he's saying. And it almost sounds like he's saying like McGee or something, because he says quiet, quiet, and you couldn't actually understand. And I looked all over to see if that there was another vantage point with a different camera. And apparently now it's taken another day for it to come out. But that's what this is. And he's yelling at a reporter from Bloomberg, who he also yelled at on the tarmac on the same night. Here's the clip.
Sir, yeah, if there's nothing incriminating in the file, sir, why not acting as a...
Yeah, I mean, this is just another example. Mary Bruce, this woman from Bloomberg. I mean, and then we at Seneca Project last year, we made a video called Bully Pulpit Prick. That was just a supercut that, again, could have been 45 minutes long of him just insulting women. Her fat, ugly face, her this, she's a dog, and he has used the pulpit in order to do it. And he does not care. And where are the other reporters standing around her, not saying anything? That's always the thing too that always gets me, Julie. I don't know what your opinion is about that, but I'm always flabbergasted.
Let me say this about these reporters. We talked about this before. He threw out the AP, so it was a message to everybody else. If you want to stay in my good graces and be able to be in an Air Force One or wherever, you better do what I say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about access.
Mm-hmm.
And these people are not truth tellers. And I'm not suggesting that if you're a woman, you need somebody to come to your defense, right?
No.
Like the reporter at Bloomberg got there because she's obviously very good at her job. You don't end up with those kinds of jobs unless you're very, very good at it.
Right.
And she's there because she earned it. And she doesn't need a bunch of guys to come to her defense.
Of course.
But what I want to know is, where are these so-called White House Correspondents Association people,
right,
who have no problem throwing a big old party every April for the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and yet when it comes to something like this, they don't say anything.
Right.
Because their word is going to throw them all out and replace all of them with just a bunch of, randos from Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, right. It'll be like the Kennedy Center board, just a bunch of randos who don't belong there. Yeah. And again, it's another example, like the corporate media, right? The corporate media, there is a bottom line. Everyone has a price, even the news organizations. Everyone has a price, can be bought, because now he's already sued ABC. ABC bent the knee, gave them the $15 million because of George Stephanopoulos, stated a correct fact, and he didn't like it, sued them. And he said, well, let's not fight this. Let's just give him the money and he'll leave us alone. When are people ever going to understand that it's never going to get you anywhere with this man, ever? It'll never be enough. And also that you've now shown to him that you can be pushed over. And he will continue to do it. And he's going to do it again. He's probably going to go after their license now with Brendan Carr. Because, Brendan Carr is his little henchman who spent last weekend at Mar-a-Lago. 46-year-old Brendan Carr, who looks a whole lot older than that, with the thumbs up, saying how it was so great to spend the weekend with President Trump, and came back and was threatening Seth Meyers. And this is like, it just...
And let me also tell you this. Larry and David Ellison, who just bought CBS and are making a bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, which would mean that they would own not just Paramount, not just Comedy Central, not just CBS, but would also own HBO and own CNN. They've denied this report, but there was a report in Variety today that Paramount Skydance was forming an investment consortium with the sovereign wealth funds of, wait for it, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi to submit a bid for Warner Brothers. Now, they've denied it. But I'm not so sure.
I ain't got nothing, Julie. I ain't got nothing. And this is yet again reason number 5,238,000 why we're doing this. Why we are starting Mayday. Because we are not beholden to anyone except for ourselves. We tell the truth. We are committed to telling the truth. We are committed to asking the questions when we are able to. Maybe out into the void, hopefully at some point to the actual person. And because we're sick of this. We're sick of this. Like, enough.
And I'll tell you, we're not selling out to Saudi Arabia.
No.
Not gonna happen.
There's no amount of money. There really isn't at this point. I mean, like I can't see why anybody would feel like there
If
is.
there was an amount of money that was worth all this shit, I would have stayed at Fox.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to be very honest.
Right. You would have looked the other way and said, you know what, it's
And
you would have done that probably a lot of times in your life. You would have looked the other way and said, you know what, I'm comfortable here. I'm not going to, rock the boat. I'm not going to stir the pot. I'm just going to, and a lot of people in politics and media do that.
All the time.
All the time. And I also just want to say on the Piggy front, I was reminded of this morning. I was like, Piggy, why have he said this before? When has he called someone Piggy?
Alyssa Machado.
I have this clip from Inside Edition. This aired in 2016. I just want people to be reminded of this happening.
A former Miss Universe says she was publicly humiliated by Donald Trump.
For sure, he's not a good person.
Alicia Machado was crowned Miss Universe in 1996 when she was just 19.
Do you think Donald Trump is a bully?
Yes, total.
Did he bully you?
Yes, all the time.
Trump had just taken ownership of the Miss Universe pageant. His then wife, Marla Maples, co-hosted the contest the night Alicia Machado won. But within months, Alicia gained up to 40 pounds. Rumors swirled that the crown would be taken away. Look how her handlers reacted when an Inside Edition producer asked her about it.
I have to ask you the question about the current controversy here.
Okay, yes,
What about let me just ask, is there any worried about your crown being taken?
Trump demanded that she lose weight, calling her an eating machine on the Howard Stern show. He even took her to a gym and invited the media to watch her work out.
Slowly go down towards your toes, that's it.
She weighed 118 pounds or 117 pounds, and she went up to 160 or 70. So this is somebody that likes to eat.
Alicia told me she felt publicly shamed.
He called me like Miss Piggy, Miss Housekeeping.
Donald Trump called you Miss Piggy.
Yes, Miss Piggy, Miss Housekeeping.
How did that make you feel?
So sad. I was very depressed.
And listen to what Trump said when asked this question about then-wife Marla.
What happens if Marla gained this kind of weight? Would you drop her?
Well, I'd probably do the same thing with her. I'd say start working out. No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
It's a very interesting question.
Alicia went on to become a big star of telenovelas. She was also the first Miss Universe to pose for Playboy magazine. But she says her experience as a Miss Universe with the weight problem led to years of eating disorders and psychotherapy. Alicia is about to become an American citizen, just in time to vote.
I wanted.
She's not supporting Trump on Venezuela, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. Listen, I've said it before. We said it this morning. I'll say it again. And I just did a show with my Lift Our Voices co-founder, Gretchen Carlson, a couple of hours ago, who reminded me that when she was Miss America, one of the judges, and I know which judge she's talking about. I don't know if she named this person, so I don't want to name him, but you'd be surprised because he's beloved, or he passed away, wrote an entire book about her after she was Miss America, calling her Miss Piggy. And she was so traumatized and terrified that her husband, who she met on a blind date, would find this out about her before their first date, that she had horrible anxiety.
Oh my God.
And I will tell you, there is not one woman on earth, who has not been called too fat or too thin. There is not I would say 1 out of every 2 or 3 times I go on TV, so at least once a week, somebody calls me Skeletor or says they don't know what happened to me. I used to be pretty, but then I became ugly. And, like, I don't let it bother. Legitimately, I do not let it bother me because I've been in the public eye, on TV for so many years. Like, if I had $1 for every time, it's a bunch of guys sitting in their basement.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Doing whatever they're doing. So I don't really care. But I will also say that the message that this sends to young girls and to women about what's important in life is really effing shitty. And you brought this up, I think yesterday or today, about Alina Habba, who's now the United States Attorney in New Jersey for now, who had that famous line, "I'd rather be pretty than smart."
Yep. And listen, I came of age
not me. Not me.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, it's I came of age, and it's funny because I follow all these nostalgia accounts for millennials and stuff, and it's like often reminded of how toxic the early 2000s and late 90s were for young girls and teenagers. And I'm like, how any of us made it through, I will never know. I will never understand. But like, I competed in the Miss America program. I was no Gretchen Carlson. I was no Mallory Hagan, but I did. And people said horrendous things to me.
Horrendous.
And when I was in show business, there was like an agent who would come up to me like in a restaurant and be like, "Oh, I hear you want to do TV, like blah, blah. Oh yeah, that's great. Are you going to lose like 20 pounds though?" And at the time I weighed 110 pounds.
So when I was a Fox, I had my son, and I went back to work 2 weeks later. Nobody told me to, by the way, but I knew that if I needed, you want to get airtime, you go back. And I worked out like I don't think I've ever worked out in my life. And I ate nothing. Nothing. Nobody, I want to be very clear. Nobody at Fox told me to lose weight quickly. But I knew that if I wanted airtime, I'd have to lose that weight quickly.
Yep.
And I just knew. And so I did. I mean, I lost weight in a really unhealthy way in that I think I literally ate 500 calories a day. And I worked out 2 hours a day, all while having a newborn and not sleeping at night.
Right. And yeah,
and it's really, really unhealthy. And this is like before the days of Ozempic or anything else that you could do.
Yeah, or like thinking about protein. Like, like,
well, I mean, this
eat,
I literally would eat 500 calories worth of protein, but it didn't matter.
No carbs, just lettuce,
nothing.
And
I wish something like Ozempic had existed back then, because at least it would have been not as miserable. I wouldn't have been as hungry. I mean, I was starving all the time, plus super sleep deprived, plus super stressed with a newborn. I was a single mom, so I was literally, it was all on me. Having to get up every couple of hours because obviously you have to do that with the newborn. Like it was just a very, very tough time. And again, I want to be clear. Nobody even tells you have to do this. Legally, they can't tell you to do this, but
there's coded language also just around, like, even if they don't come out and say it, you hear it, or you hear about it, or there's other ways to say it. And, Donald Trump, again, like, he's asked about Marla. He skirts the question. It's well known that when Melania told Donald Trump that she wanted to have a baby, he said that part of the contract or the agreement that she would lose the weight immediately. And this is not a man who values women as human beings. And I just want to say that again and tie this into this whole Jeffrey Epstein thing. This is not a man who values women as human beings. And that is not hyperbole. He sees them as objects that are there to serve or pleasure him, and that is it.
And by the way, Stan, in the comments, you're very sweet. You said, Julie, don't ever abuse yourself for vainness like that for vainness. I just want to be clear. as you could see, except for some lipstick, I'm not wearing any makeup. This is not about being vain. I am the least vain person when it comes to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about vainness. This was my job. I needed to get back on TV.
And the same for show business. I mean, a lot of my friends are still in it. And for me, like, it, beyond just like, you know, trying to figure out paycheck to paycheck, it was like the quality of life. I will never forget the relief of being like, I don't have to like weigh myself all the time anymore. Oh my God. Like, and just feeling such relief about that, knowing that I was not ever going to go on an audition ever again. And it made me feel just like a sigh of relief.
Yeah.
You know, and I've struggled with my weight for most of my adult life. Just, you know, I'm very short and I have, you know, some hormonal issues, in which a lot of women do. And it's very hard. But that being said, and that's why that's so triggering, because when men specifically, men like Donald Trump, here's something that a woman says and they don't like it because they feel challenged by it, or it annoys them. The first thing they do is attack the way you look. That is what they do it every goddamn time.
Every time.
From high school to adulthood.
Every time.
It never ends.
I mean, you should just go into my social media feed. Look at the comments. Anytime tell you what, next time I'm on CNN and I tweet out, hey, I'm going to be on CNN, go into those comments and see what the response is. And it's 9 times out of 10, not anything I said, but it's what I look like. And by the way, it's not just me. I work for with some incredibly beautiful people over the course of my career in television. Every single one of them will tell you the same.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. You could be, well, literally, you could be Miss America. Somebody will call you Miss Piggy. I mean,
right. And same with Mallory. So Mallory Hagan, who I've known a long time, and she also works with me over at Seneca Project now as well. There's a whole documentary series, I think, on Lifetime or right. And there's a whole episode about what happened to her because and be like all rooting from body shaming, misogyny, and control. And it is disgusting. And, you know, it's just why it's so like this going into Me Too and like all of these conversations that we're having right now about all of this, it is all connected. None of this stands alone. It is all connected. And there is so much hatred towards women that has led us to this moment, whether it's not electing Hillary Clinton or it's calling a reporter piggy or not giving a woman a chance or trafficking young girls. I mean, it's dehumanization of half the population of this world. And, you know, it's exhausting, but it's another reason why we can't stop and we cannot stop having these conversations and we can't stop talking. And that's why when we saw this with Mary Bruce today, the way that he berated her was just so on brand for him, especially with MBS sitting next to him.
With MBS sitting there. By the way, women are just now starting to sort of be allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and MBS is being hailed as some sort of civil rights hero for allowing women to be.
I know you got to go, Julie, but I just want to play that really quick.
We have a lot of jobs. So I just want to thank you. We've been really good friends for a long period of time. We've always been on the same side of every issue. I think we've done a great job in wiping out the nuclear capacity of Iran. Nobody else could have done that. No.
We're the same on every issue. Honestly, well, yeah, maybe you are. Donald Trump, maybe you are. But not the rest of us. And we have to continue calling it out because, you know, if you're on social media, please write a nice note to Mary Bruce. Thank her for her courage, for standing up, doing the right thing today, because she asked a question that a lot of people in that room do not have the cojones to do. And she did. And she didn't back down. And she's probably going to be, I mean, I hope not, but it's likely that she could be punished for this because Donald Trump's going to make threats to her employer. And so, you know, if you can, write a nice note somewhere in the algorithm and send some love her way. So.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us in this outrage today. I'm really just.
I know. I'm like legitimately outraged today. Yeah. I'm tired and outraged. And I can't take it.
We'll try to calm down by tomorrow morning. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the Mayday Morning Show at 8 a.m. Eastern. And thank you guys so much for joining all of us.
Like and subscribe, everyone.
Subscribe, everybody. Like and subscribe. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Take care.